It's going to be really open-ended. You guys can stop me at any point if you have a question. We will take questions at the end, but if there's something that's you find that's important that you want to address during this, go ahead. Please feel free. Don't be shy. All right. So for anyone that doesn't know me in here, my name is Hussein, and I've been with Family First Life for about almost 18 months now. And when I started, I was 31 years old. So why is that relevant? A lot of people in here are a lot younger than me. And as a 31-year-old, during my 20s, I really never found an opportunity where I can consistently have an uncapped income. Now, it's not going to be the easiest job for anyone new here. Anyone that's new here, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to follow your mentor's footsteps and be coachable and not have an ego. But that's what I did. I came in here, I followed Mahmoud's footsteps, and I was able to put those 200 dials in a day, 300 dials in a day. In my first 60, 90 days, I saw a lot of results. So, and that being said, during my 20s, I found different hustles where I could make money here and there, but it was never really consistent. With the blueprint here, we have a system where there's 800 people making money, right? I believe within the entire agency, it's not by coincidence, right? If it was just maybe one or two people selling $10,000 a week in insurance, then one can think, oh, this might not be for me. But if somebody comes in here, like I said, they're coachable, they follow their mentor's footsteps, like I did in my first 90 days, they will see success. It's not an emotional thing, guys, right? If you follow your mentor's footsteps, you're coachable, you try your best every single day, and you're honest with yourself. Did I come to the office at 9 o'clock and did I leave at 1 p.m. or did I put my dials in until 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m., right? So that's one big theme I want everyone to be take away from this. As an agent, are you being honest with yourself? Are you following your mentor's footsteps? Are you trying your best, right? Are you practicing the script with whoever's on your team, right? Are you getting feedback with maybe somebody in the agency that you look up to, right? Because if you come here and you're not doing all of those things, it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed, all right? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit of the lessons I learned as a new agent. So I have a schedule. I have one now and when I was a new agent. It was wake up in the morning around 6 or 7, go to the gym for 30 minutes, and then try to be in the office by 9 a.m. And I would rip the phones for 3, 4 hours, right? And after 3, 4 hours, I would take a break. I would try to get something to eat. And after I got something to eat, I would go to my mentor and be like, okay, I got this objection. All right. What could have I done different there? Was the why strong enough? Do you think he really already had insurance and he was just looking to leave some extra, but his income wasn't that high, right? And initially, as a new agent, I really didn't pay attention to, okay, they already have insurance and their income isn't that high, and I wasn't being really honest with myself. I was just trying to sell as many people as I could, and that's what was hurting me a little bit during the earlier on stages of this journey of becoming, I guess, a producer that sells 40 to 50,000 every single month. But early on, I wasn't when I say honest, I was like, okay, when you guys go through the script with the client and you see they're making $1,200 a month and they already have a $10,000 policy for their burial, would it be very smart to try to push them to try to sell them something that's going to be $150 to $200 a month? Early on as a new agent, I would push and push and push, just try to make that commission. Yay, I made a sale. But I did get a lot of chargebacks as a new agent, and that's some feedback I got from my mentor. I was like, okay, I need to take a step back. All right, they make $1,200 a month. They already have a $10,000 policy. Maybe I can tell them, hey, let's supplement it with a $5,000 policy for inflation, for example. All right. And then another thing I was doing early on when I had joined, I was on Zoom with the team, right? So I would listen to others and how they dialed, and I would try to see, okay, he's saying this and I'm not doing that, and he's selling a lot. Maybe I should take note of that because I know myself. I'm very hard-headed and I always want to think I know what to do. I don't need any help from anybody. But as I lowered my pride and ego, as I listened to other people, it really helped me get to the next level because person A, B, or C is doing something that's working, it should work for the next person, right? And when I did start lowering my ego and I took notes on what the other agents were doing as a new agent, it really made a big difference. Instead of not getting on Zoom, not asking questions after I got a banking objection or social objection, that's what helped me propel to the next level. All right. And then we also, for a new agent, we have team calls from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's another like avenue or lens you can look through as a new agent, because let's say I'm in the Lexington office and I'm listening to somebody that's in Austin or in Philly and they're having success. I don't have access to them on a day-to-day basis, but these team calls are made for that reason, right? You can get another perspective from another agent that you don't see on a daily basis, for example. Right. And then as a new agent, I think one of the things I definitely didn't do as much in the beginning was challenge the client, right? So when you're talking to these people and for example, you talk to somebody on the phone and they say they make $6,000 or $7,000 a month and they do have a mortgage, they have credit card debt, and they don't have any life insurance, and the client told you, we're not good at saving money. I mean, we have $1,000 left over, but we don't have any adequate savings. It's as a new agent, if the client had told me I don't really want life insurance, I would have been kind of timid and shy and been like, all right, I'm not going to sell them. They don't want it. But now, as I've gained more experience, all right, excuse me, all right, Sam or Sarah, if you don't get the insurance, you told me you don't save any money every single month. What's your plan? Like, I'm not scared to challenge a client anymore, right? And the sooner you can get uncomfortable and you can ask the hard questions as a new agent, the more success you're going to have. Like, I literally had a client tell me, I don't know what my plan is. So then when you hear like something like that, you need to push them forward. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a policy in place to make sure that when that time does come, there's something that's a safety net, right? Because you've talked to the client, they told you they don't have insurance, they've told you it's affordable, and they're not good at saving money, for example. They're just on the fence about getting insurance. Maybe it's something they haven't really thought about doing or they've been delaying. But as the professional, you need to take action and tell them what we're going to do. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to assume the sale, right? We're going to put a policy in place to cover the burial. So that would be $15,000. Then you can dig more, all right? If the burial is taken care of, how much do you have on that mortgage left, right? And if it's affordable, we can protect that too, all right? But any agent can come in and find laydowns, or I'm looking for insurance for my husband and I, just simple burial policies. But when you can dig in and you can ask the customer, hey, do you have like a mortgage or credit card debt as a new agent? You're going to be able to sell more policies, right? So digging into the why on the phone with the client, assuming the sale, and asking the hard questions will get you to the next level as a new agent, right? You can't be shy, guys. All right. At the end of the day, if I sold somebody today, or excuse me, no, if I sell them, that's good. But if I don't sell someone today and I asked all the hard questions and I don't get the sale and they hang up on me, does it matter? Even if I don't, if I saw these people in real life, I wouldn't recognize them. But as a new agent, you need to get to the point where you're on the phone with them until they literally are annoyed. Like, you don't want to be an asshole, but like, you ask them question after question after question. If you don't do this, you don't have this in place. What's the plan here? My job as a medical underwriter is to give you more information. And I know your finances may be a little bit tight, but then you need to address, hey, this program was made affordable for veterans or on a fixed income. All right. If you are shy and timid, and when somebody tells you, no, I already have insurance, and you kind of just give up or hang up, it's going to be tough to get to the next level. All right. Just because somebody may even have insurance, the next thing you need to ask them is, okay, I totally understand. That makes my job a lot easier. Can you tell me when you got that? Was that through the private sector or the VA, the AAA method? Agree, ask, attack. I didn't use that a lot initially, but as I used that more and more, I got more and more sales. And what made me use that more? I was listening to my peers, they were using it, so I started using it, and I got more sales. So if you aren't using that, that'd be a good thing to take note of today. All right. And then and you can't get uncomfortable when you're building the why, all right? So for example, if I call John and we're trying to get a policy to protect his wife, Sarah. You need to talk about Sarah during the sale. So Sarah will have day one coverage with this policy. We want to make sure that Sarah is protected on the worst day of her life. There is no 2-year waiting period for Sarah. All right. So John, this is locked in. This policy will never increase. So when that time comes, we know it's always going to be affordable for you, and it's never going to go up. And that will help us make sure Sarah's protected. All right. When that time comes, the death benefit will be tax-free. So when Sarah, again, we're going to re-emphasize on the why here. Sarah will make that death claim and she'll receive the death benefit tax-free. All right. That's a subconscious clause. It's making it more interpersonal. There's a sentimental attachment there. All right. Not just like this policy has day one coverage. This is a locked in rate. I'm going really fast. I'm not bringing the why back into it. I'm not talking about Sarah, right? So John might have been married to Sarah for 50 years, all right? The last thing John wants at the end of his life is his wife that he's loved his entire life being financially burdened on the worst day of her life, right? So the more images you can paint, when Sarah makes that death claim, so I've painted a picture when John is dead, he's not around anymore, and Sarah has a $15,000 burial bill. We're putting something in order to protect that, all right? When I keep mentioning Sarah and when this happens, ABC, he's seeing it in his mind, and there's like an attachment to that piece of paper he's going to get in the mail, all right? Versus if I just say this policy, this, that, and that, there's not an attachment, and it's more likely to charge back if there's isn't something sentimental there, if that makes sense. All right. All right. And then the framework around objections. So my personal opinion, objections, the more you do this, the more you dial, the more people you talk to, the more calm you're going to be on the phone when you get an objection, right? So when I first started, when I would get like a social objection, I would get really nervous and it would feel like it was the end of the world. Now, the less of a deal you make it, the less of a deal it is to the client. I totally understand, sir or ma'am. The only reason we need that social is for that medical information bureau report we had talked about earlier. And when that time comes, it's the only way your family is going to be able to make that death claim. Does that make sense? Just like that. But how are you going to be able, excuse me, how does a new agent come to become that calm? It's by rep after rep after rep after rep. All right. If you want to become a 40, 50, 60K a month producer, you are going to have to put the reps in. It's not going to be easy at first. But if you want to be a 6-figure earner in life, it's not going to be easy either. Right. So the more time, the more effort, the more dials, the more questions you ask your mentor, the more success you'll have. But some people have a come on and kill it quickly. Some people have a harder learning curve. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. As long as you eventually get there and you're honest with yourself, you know you're doing your best. And I know I've never seen an agent that's putting in the dials, putting in the hours, working 10 to 12 hours a day, not succeed here. We do have the best system in place for everyone to succeed, no matter the background, no matter how much experience they've had, but you just need to be honest with yourself at the end of the day. Am I doing the things that my mentor wants me to do? And then poor habits outside of work. All right. I don't know about what you guys, everyone has different goals in life. I mean, I'm a little bit older. I don't really care about maybe going out and getting drunk or hanging out with friends outside of work every single day. But if you are putting 10, 12, 14 hours a day into work, you need to take care of yourself, exercise. And I don't think going out 3 or 4 times a week is going to get you to 50, 60K a month as a producer. All right. So, but your habits outside of work will impact your day-to-day productivity and at the end of the month, how much insurance you do so. And again, be honest with yourself. What do you want out of life? Do you want to just submit 20 grand a month, 15 grand a month, barely pay your bills every month? Or do you want to become a 50, 60K producer, get your commission up, and then eventually build your own team where you can become a 7-figure earner? This opportunity can get you there, but again, you have to be honest with yourself. Am I doing my best? Am I making good decisions outside of life? Because at the end of the day, I'm a 1099 employee and everyone else in here is, and we all make our own decisions. And then watching who you get advice from, guys. So when I started, my mentor is Mahmoud, and he was selling 50, 60K a month. So if he's selling 50, 60K a month, I should go to him for advice, not Bob, who's selling 10K a month, that doesn't take life serious, that shows up at 2 o'clock and that talks about cars and girls all day and that isn't on the phone, right? So be honest with yourself. I'm not trying to target anyone by any means, but if you want to get to a certain level of success in this job, you need to follow someone that's already doing it. All right. And again, just being honest with yourself. Is that person doing a good job? Do they seem like they're a good role model? And then if that is the case, follow them. If not, it's nothing personal. You're not being mean. You're just putting your own priorities first. All right. Now, taking that wrong advice, it's the same concept of watching who you get advice from, right? If somebody's trying to, if somebody comes to me and they're not selling at a high level and then I'm trying to get to a high level, should I be selling, should I be listening to them? I don't think so. Right. So anyone have any questions so far? If not, we're gonna get into like a day-to-day, the day-to-day life of an agent. So I usually get to my office around 9, and if I have a policy that maybe a client that I'm having trouble getting approved, I'll work on that in the first 30 minutes. And I'll take care of that. And then I'll usually start hitting the phones around 9:45 to 10. I saw like 3 or 4 hours. And what I do now that I have all the states, if I'm closing somebody in Texas, if if I can get it submitted right then and there while they're on the phone and I can give them the policy number, I do it right then and there. So like if you do have the states and you're not a new agent, I encourage you to do the same, right? Because when I didn't have the states, I would put these things on the side and it would pile up and it would pile up and I wouldn't be able to get them approved. I wouldn't be able to get them back on the phone a couple of days later and I would lose money. So if you do have the states, please, as as an agent, try to get it done right away. If the customer feels comfortable with you calling them back, you can do that too. But it is going to hurt your success if you're putting these applications if you're delaying submitting them, all right? And then how many dials am I making a day? So around 150 to 200 leads, I'll 3x them, right? In the beginning of the day, what I usually do, I'll go back through my old leads, maybe from the day before and the day before that, and I'll spend the first half day on that. And then the next part of the day, I'll spend it on new leads. All right. And I usually will dial 150 to 200 people a day, and I'll get about 8 to 10 presentations on a good day, some days less, some days more. And from there, I'll be able to close 1 or 2 deals. And then for anyone wondering, after you've been here for a good 4, 5, 6 months and you have maybe 4 or 5 thousand leads in your Excel sheet, it's advantageous to hire maybe a dialer. That's what I've been doing more recently. That'll help you go from like a 40, $50,000 a month of producer to maybe 60, 70, 80. All right. But you do need to, before you get a dialer, I encourage you to keep going with, keep getting more and more experience. You're bulletproof on the phone. You're calm when it comes to the objections. All right. Because when you get a transfer, you're getting basically a high intent lead and you need to be an expert at closing at that point. But I wouldn't suggest a dollar for anyone that's new. Anyone that's new needs to just learn to master the craft themselves by dialing day in and day out, because that's the best way to learn, guys. There's no shortcuts. I learned how to drive a car by driving a car. I learned how to shoot a basketball by shooting a basketball over and over and over again. It's the same concept. And then, so my mindset when I'm dialing, if I call Joe, he tells me to go screw myself, it doesn't matter. And you need Daniel G, I think his name is, he said, with sales, you have to forget everything once that phone call ends. The next person is a close in my head, right? Because if I go 10 dials and no one's A, B, C, it sucks. These leads suck. I can't close, man. Today's not working. It's gonna destroy the rest of my day. And if one day turns into a week turns into a month, and then boom, I'm out of the business. But if I treat every single lead as a new, fresh opportunity with an open-minded and I'm assuming the close. I'm asking the hard questions as the agent. All right. I'm in charge. When I go to the doctor, I personally don't ask the doctor too many questions. I just listen to what he has to say because he's licensed. He went to school. We took a course. We got our license. We're in charge of these phone calls. All right, guys. And then another thing, like when I'm on the phone, yeah, you are the licensed professional. You are in charge of the phone call, but you don't want to be robotic, right? So, for example, so who's going to be the primary beneficiary with this policy? Oh, your wife, Sarah. How long have you guys been married? One of my favorite things to say is, if he says 10 years, I'll be like, I can't keep a girlfriend for 10 days, right? So the interpersonal connection that you make with a client is a big deal, all right? Because the people don't want to buy, like, these people are on fixed incomes and they worked hard throughout their lives, and like every single dollar matters. And when they spend money, they want to spend it with somebody they feel like they trust, all right? And then with the health questions, for example, my dad has diabetes, for example, or oh, my mom has high blood pressure too, right? All right, so relating to them, talking about yourself a little bit. What did you do for work before you retired, Bob? Oh, I was a petroleum engineer. Oh, that's cool. My brother is trying to do engineering. I can't do engineering myself. It's too much math, right? If you just ask him what'd you do for work and he says engineering and you say, oh, that's cool. It's not as interesting as relating to yourself. Like I suck at math. I thought about it or whatever it may be. You're engaging with him, right? It's it makes a big difference. Small things like that. All right. And the assumptive concept is a big deal. When this policy does start on November 1st, your family will be protected. All right. With the cash value, I would, for example, not touch it for 2 years, John or Bob. And the 2 years you can pull from this. All right. Does that make sense? During the presentation, you're assuming the close. All right. And then even like at the end of the call, when you ask for the backup contingent beneficiary, um, if God forbid, if you both pass away in an accident, when this policy is after this policy goes into effect, who do you want that person to be, that the next person in line, right? Not if you get the policy, when the policy does go into effect, right? Your words are very important when it comes to that because there's subconscious closes. Even if they don't say anything when you say these things, it is a subconscious close. All right. Let's see here. So I've gone over all the things in the PDF that for the training. Do you guys have any questions so far? We're gonna do a 20-minute Q&A session.
What uh what helped you relax whenever you get objections? Because I notice some days I'm more relaxed on some objections, but some days I'm more a little, you know, anxious, I guess you can say. But
Yeah.
I think it's really whenever I catch myself not selling as much.
Is it like a certain objection that you keep getting that makes you anxious?
Um, I wouldn't say so, but I think one thing I've been struggling on a bit is kind of building like a proper why.
Yeah. So with the objections, that is a good point, guys. The stronger the why that you develop, the easier these, like the social will be and the banking will be. All right. So that is the most important concept. But what helped me, like I said earlier, Juice, is just doing as many dials as I can and taking notes of what happened with that objection and then going to somebody else and asking them, hey, what could have I done different? He told me that he didn't have any insurance, for example, and he makes 5 grand a month, but he still wouldn't give me his social. Now, do you give them your credentials, Juice, and you tell them, hey, you can get on the Department of Insurance website in your state and verify that I'm a licensed professional? Do you do that?
Uh, yeah, I do, but sometimes I don't.
Yeah, so we need to do that every call, bro. Right? That will
Okay.
help a little bit.
Are you only so like sending them your card, like
Yeah, it's
the card with your information?
my car. I saw I have like my picture and then all the carriers and then my national producer number. And I'm like, okay, Bob or Sarah, you can get on the Texas Department of Insurance website, for example, and use my national producer number to verify that I'm a licensed professional in the state. That's what I
Watch
say.
out, guys.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Thank you.
Don't
Yeah.
with the card, I wouldn't do it towards the end. I would do it after you the what's it called? The health
Look at this
questions.
dickhead still holding his break.
Okay. After the health question.
Yeah, niggas didn't even notice you was rolling up on that
You
nigga.
or whoever that is. So I wouldn't wait till the end of the discussion, guys, to send the credentials. Like if somebody rejects you, objects you when it comes to the social, then you try to send the credentials. It's not as uh, powerful as sending it earlier on, because if you send it earlier on, it gives them time to internalize, okay, he's a licensed professional in their mind. But if they're already fighting you about the social, then you try to fix it. It's much, much more difficult. It really is. It makes a huge difference.
I got a question.
What's up?
When's the most crucial time to be assumptive in the script, would you say?
And you don't want to be too assumptive right from the jump, but after the 2, 3, 4 minutes into it, like when you get into the benefits, you need to be absolutely assumptive. This is day one coverage for Sarah and Bob. This is locked in for your family, for example. You guys will never have to pay more. When they make the death claim, it's going to be tax-free money for Sarah or Bob, right? When that happens, those words like make a big difference. I never used to say that earlier on when I started this job, but now that I've seen a huge difference. All right. If you do pass away in an accident, your family will receive double the money when it's time to make the death claim. All right. This is permanent coverage for your family. It's guaranteed to go to them on the worst day of their life. Right. And then starting the effective date is November 1st. That's when your family will be protected. Hopefully nothing happens between now and then, for example. All right. But I don't, because being assumptive and being pushy in the beginning can be dangerous. So with this program, it's my job as a medical underwriter to go over your suitability and your health. And if you decide on applying for coverages, I'll be the medical underwriter to protect your family. I can't say, you can't say when you apply for coverages, right? If in the beginning, I don't say, because I need to be careful with my words. If you try to like push somebody too much early on, they're more likely to hang up. That's how I see it. But after I've gone them on the phone for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, it's fair game to assume the close, right? Because you don't, in the beginning, you just want to give somebody like space to breathe and understand what's going on, right? You don't want to be like, if I walk into a shoe store, hey, you're going to buy shoes right now. Like, let me look around for a second and then I'll I'll talk to somebody in the store. That's how I see it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So how do you build off uh other bills or a mortgage protection? Why?
So it's with life insurance, this is kind of a good question. Like if somebody's getting a piece of paper in the mail they're not going to use ever in their life until they're literally dead, there has to be a reason for the insurance, right? You want to attach like that $10,000 policy to something, like for example, like you said, the mortgage. All right. And then you want to make them your friend at the same time. Okay, Abdullah, you have a $10,000 policy. It's good. We're not really worried about the burial. Do you see what I just did there? I made you my friend by not pressuring you, not saying, oh, 10,000 is not enough for the burial. But Abdullah, you told me you have a mortgage, correct? All right. Now
Yeah.
we're just still talking. And if you were to pass away today, Abdullah, do you think your family would be able to handle that? Are you the primary breadwinner? Like, I'm being really direct and honest. Like, is that going to be an issue for your family if you passed away today? Like, would they be able to handle the mortgage?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how I'm like asking them questions about like when they're not around anymore. I'm painting the picture of what happens if they don't get the insurance and what happens if they do get the insurance. So that packet in the mail has way more meaning versus me just reading off benefits and reading off the script. Oh, this can do this and do that. But I've already attached like a scenario in their head. Hey, if I get it, this is what happens. If I don't get it, this is what's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? about like their first 90 days, about anything it's really open-ended, you guys.
I got a question,
Shane, I
man.
got a question for you.
Uh,
You can
go
go.
ahead, Travis, or
All right.
whoever wants.
So,
Yeah.
Shane, what would the best advice be for someone who's just now starting leads?
Let's see. Strictly stick to the script at first, like you have been, and then always like when you're starting on leads, like for a new agent, make sure you're on Zoom with somebody so what they can listen to you and give you feedback as you are on the phone with them. Because for a new agent, that is very critical. And every single time you get some kind of objection or you don't make a close, you need to ask your mentor, Kyle, myself, hey, this happened, or what could have I done better? It's because like if you're in the dark, it's really hard, right? This is not like, guys, we don't do the same thing over and over. It's we technically do call people all day, but every single person we call is a different scenario. And the more feedback you can get for each different scenario, the better off you're going to be. But to answer your question, Travis, to surround yourself and try to dial only when people are around on Zoom or Discord, and to take notes. Okay, I sold this guy, but I didn't sell these 5 people. What happened with those 5 people? Does that make sense? And then another piece of advice, Travis, is to 15x every single lead and really, really, just like Kobe shoots basketballs over and over, to really work hard with those leads. Absolutely exhaust them.
Got you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I got a question, man. So I've got a
So-
couple new agents coming on, and these are like mostly my first few people I have coming through the business. What would you say are some things that to set them up for success as far as like what I should have ready once they do pass their exams and are actually ready to start dialing?
So I think like one-on-one mentorship in the beginning is really critical. Like you need to be around a lot with them. It will take some time off your plate initially, but after the solid 5 to 10 work days of you listening to them on Zoom and you giving them consistent feedback, that's gonna really be a big difference. Because I know I'm not perfect. I've ignored some new agents and they fell off. But when I've been around all the time initially, like they listen to me, I listen to them, I give them feedback. It's just because this is a job, not most people have done virtual sales. It's very different. Even like you can have the script in front of you, but if no one's really guiding you and helping you, it's going to be difficult. But I would say the one-on-one mentorship and making you listening to them critically and giving them feedback at first is the most important part, in my opinion. I mean, you could give them as many new leads as you want. You could tell them to watch YouTube videos, but somebody needs to listen to them and then give them feedback. In my opinion, that is the most important thing.
Gotcha. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
No problem.
What's a few things that help you stay organized in the beginning or just in general?
So I'm pretty old school. When I do like a presentation, I'll just use a notebook. But let's say that I call Sarah and she says, call me back on Friday. I'll put it in my calendar on my phone, and that will help me because you talk to so many people. If you don't have like a calendar, it's going to be difficult to remember that. And then I use my Excel sheet too to make notes like 3x or call back later, all right, or whatever it may be. Has insurance, has 50K, is good to go, in best position possible. Can't replace that. But so I would use the calendar and I use the Excel sheet to make notes. And then I go in the morning, I check all my portals to see who charged back or what's pending. And I'll try to call and do some back end work in the morning. But everyone's different. I use the calendar thing on my phone and the Excel sheet, and then I'll just go through the different portals and check on the status of all the policies I have going into effect. Any other questions? All right. So let's make it a great week, guys. I hope I was beneficial to everybody. And I'm gonna end the session now.
Let's go, Shane.
Peace out, Pablo.
Boom.